Something is going to go wrong. I do not know what, and I do not know when. Maybe your car dies on a Tuesday. Maybe a medical bill shows up. Maybe a flight home for a family emergency. I cannot tell you which one. I can only tell you that one of them is coming because for everyone, eventually, one of them does. So here is the question that actually matters. If a $1,000 emergency landed on you this week, could you cover it from savings? In cash without borrowing? Be honest. Because when researchers ask that exact question, around 4 in 10 adults say no. Not 4 in 10 broke people, 4 in 10 people, period. People with jobs, people who feel like they are doing fine. And that is the quiet danger here. Most people are not one bad decision away from a financial crisis. They are one surprise away from a debt spiral, and they have no idea they are standing that close to the edge. So let me define the thing that keeps you off that edge. An emergency fund is one idea, and it is simple. It is a pile of cash that exists for one job, to absorb the surprise so the surprise does not become debt. How big? The standard answer is 3 to 6 months of expenses. But that line gets misread constantly, so let me be precise. 3 to 6 months does not mean 3 to 6 months of your whole lifestyle. It means 3 to 6 months of your essentials: rent, groceries, utilities, insurance, minimum debt payments, transportation, the bare bones it costs to keep your life running if your income stopped tomorrow. Add those up. If your essentials are about $2,000 a month, your target is roughly $6,000 to $12,000, and it has to be liquid and it has to be separate. Liquid means you can get to it in a day or two, not money locked in investments. Separate means its own account, not mixed into checking where it slowly turns into spending money. Now, what actually counts as an emergency? A job loss, a real medical bill, a car repair you need to get to work, a broken furnace in winter. And what does not count? A vacation, a sale, a new phone because the old one feels slow, concert tickets. If you saw it coming, or you could wait, it is not an emergency. The fund is for the things that are both urgent and unexpected. Guard that line, because the moment the fund pays for wants, it stops being there for the thing it was built for. Here is what is really at stake, and why this is not just nice-to-have advice. Without a fund, every emergency has only one place to go: a credit card. And credit card debt is not normal debt. It commonly runs around 24% interest. So watch what happens. A $4,000 car repair shows up. You do not have the cash, so you put it on the card, telling yourself you will pay it off soon. But soon turns into months. At 24%, that balance is now quietly charging you around $80 a month in interest, on top of the $4,000 you already owe. The emergency did not end when the car got fixed. It just changed shape into a slow, expensive debt that follows you for months. And the most dangerous part is the story people tell themselves to avoid building a fund at all. Just put it on a card, they say, as if the card is the same thing. It is not. The card does not absorb the emergency. It converts the emergency into a problem that is 20 to 40% more expensive than it had to be. The fund does the opposite. The fund does not just cover the bill. It saves you every dollar of interest the card would have charged. That saved interest is the entire point. The fund is the cheapest insurance you will ever own, and you are the one writing the policy. Let me make this a person. Anna was 26, working in tech support, making $52,000 a year. She had been meaning to build an emergency fund for 2 years. She had about $400 saved, and every month she told herself she would start for real next month. Then her car needed a timing belt replaced. $1,800. She did not have $1,800, so she put it on her credit card at 23%. 5 months later, she was still making minimum payments, and that $1,800 repair had cost her an extra $415 in interest before she finally cleared it. But the money was not even the worst part. For those months, she could not move forward on anything else. Every spare dollar went to that interest. The repair did not just cost $1,800, it cost her 6 months of momentum. Here is the part that changes everything. After she paid it off, she opened a high-yield savings account, set up a $175 automatic transfer every month, and named it her stability fund. She treated it like a bill. 14 months later, she had about $2,400 in it. Not 6 months of expenses, not even close to the full target. But then her laptop died, and this time she pulled $800 from the fund, replaced it, and went back to zero debt. No card, no interest, no spiral. Same person, same income, same kind of emergency. The only thing that changed was that the money was already there. So here is the reframe, because most people think about this fund completely wrong. They look at $3,000, $6,000, $12,000 sitting in a savings account, doing almost nothing, and it feels like dead money. Money that should be invested, money that should be working. And that instinct is exactly the mistake. This money is not idle. It has a job, and the job is protection. It is insurance. You do not call your insurance policy dead money just because you have not crashed your car this year. You are paying for the certainty that if you do, you are covered. The emergency fund is the same, except you are both the company and the customer, and the payout is instant. And look at what that protection actually buys you. When the surprise hits, you keep your investments intact. You do not sell stocks at the worst possible moment just to make rent. You do not crack open the retirement account and eat the penalty. You do not reach for the card. The fund stands in front of all of it. And the deepest thing it buys is not even financial. It buys you calm. It is the difference between an emergency being a stressful afternoon and an emergency being the thing that wrecks your year. Cash sitting in the bank does not look impressive, but the peace of knowing you can take a hit and stay standing is one of the most valuable things money can buy. So here is the move. One action. Today, open a separate high-yield savings account. Not at your everyday bank, where the savings rate is often something insulting like 0.01%. A real high-yield account. Marcus by Goldman Sachs, Ally Bank, or SoFi are the easy, well-known options. They are free, they are FDIC insured, and opening one takes about 15 minutes from your phone. And do not skip this part, because the rate is not a rounding error. On a $10,000 emergency fund, the gap between a big bank at 0.01% and a high-yield account around 4.5% is about $449 a year. That is an extra $449 every year for the same money, for 15 minutes of work once. Then do two quick things. First, rename the account inside the app. Call it Do Not Touch or Emergency Only. That tiny label creates a real psychological speed bump. Second, automate one transfer in the day after your paycheck lands, even $50. The amount is not the point yet. The automation is the point, because a fund you have to remember to feed is a fund that quietly never gets built. Start the account today. Let the automation do the rest. The emergency is not the thing that breaks people. Being unprepared for it is. You cannot control when the surprise shows up. You can only decide ahead of time whether it finds you with a cushion or with a credit card. The emergency fund is not what you build after everything else is handled. It is what makes everything else possible. Build it before you need it, so that when life happens, and it will, it is just a bad day, not a turning point.